power of praise in your relationship means that you are actually establishing a strong connection where your partner wants to be with you.
This is so important because when you're edifying, when you're lifting each other up, guess what? I don't want to go anywhere else to get lifted up. I don't want to hear praise from anyone. It's all good and stuff. But when I got that smile and that gleam from my wife and she tells me something great about me, that's what I want. That's the validation I'm looking for. Because everybody else outside of our home, outside of our relationship, it doesn't matter. Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we want to talk to you about the power of praise in a relationship.
Ooh, man.
This is good.
So just hearing the word praise already makes my heart feel warm. I love it when Ron gives me praise. It makes me just automatically feel warm and leaned into you.
Well, it's about validating each other. It's about really exalting one another. No matter what's happening around us, no matter what is taking place, it is so important that we praise one another, that we lift each other up, that we validate each other's not only existence, but what we accomplish and what our dreams are and what we're doing in life. Because without praise,
your relationship becomes stale. I remember when we first got together, I would withhold praise. Even though I would have positive thoughts about you and recognize some positive attributes or characteristics, I would withhold it out of my own insecurity because I didn't want you to feel too secure. I didn't want you to feel too much like you were as amazing as I saw you to be. Because I was afraid. I was afraid that I would lose power, I would lose control, that I would lose you.
You know, I think when I look back at our beginning of our relationship, I think my intent, my motivation was ill will. It wasn't, I wanted something in return.
Right.
I figured if I would lift you up or say anything good about you, I was gonna get lucky.
And right? You got lucky because I'm still here.
That's right. So looking at praise, you know, what is our heart? What is our intent? I think that's really important too to talk about.
Why are we giving praise, or why would we withhold praise from our partner? And so today we're going to talk about those cycles. What is it that's happening? Why are you withholding praise? Why are you giving praise? Maybe why are you criticizing each other? What's happening in your relationship? Because the power of true praise is that it builds a really strong safety net around your relationship.
So what is praise? Praise is really acknowledging each other's greatness. Right? And that's what this is about. When you're in a relationship, it's to edify, lift up, not tear down, not to break up or destroy what the possibilities are in a relationship. We got together to build something. Now, whether we were conscious of it or not at the beginning, when we began to wake up to the potential that we could do together, right? The things in the world that we can create for each other and our family, we realized that praise has to be part of the foundation.
So as you look at your intimate relationship, ask yourself, is praise part of your normal way of responding and reacting to each other? Or are you instead cutting each other down or withholding praise? And so we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about really what is praise, what's the true definition. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome to TYRO. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina. And Ron and I are the co-creators of TYRO.
TYRO is a Latin word, which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior.
Your job isn't to extract value from your friends, your family, or your community. Your job is to create value in every situation that you find yourself in, to help others become more successful. So what I want you to do is I want you to list 3 things that you add to your friendships, to your family, and to your community.
Listen, you are fighting every day for something, and maybe you don't even know what you're fighting for, but when TYRO comes into your life, it's there not only to empower you, but to give you a clear vision and a clear direction of what you're fighting for.
So really what TYRO means is to fight for your legacy, to become a leader in your home, your community, and your workplace.
Hello guys, I'm Jermaine Hall, lead coach of the TYRO Fit Skittles program. And I'm Brandon Tijerina, the Senior Director of TYRO Support Services. We've partnered together to bring you such an amazing workout program that's going to take you to the next level.
Because there is a measure of joy and a measure of pain in everybody's life. So when we think about shock and the impact of shock, typically people don't find themselves stuck in shock. Most of the time, people can navigate out of that.
So here's what we want you to do. We want you to think of a time that you experienced shock in your life, and we want you to write it down. Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about the power of praise in a relationship.
Now, the power of praise is something that, until you really ignite it, you have no idea how much that praise actually enhances your relationship. But oftentimes couples replace praise with flattery. And flattery is actually a way to manipulate a situation where we're telling something nice just because we want our way.
And that's something I alluded to in the beginning. I would say some good things or nice things to Kathy in order for me to get lucky or to get my own way. And really what that is, that's selfish. I was being selfish. I wasn't speaking honestly. It was all about me. And I think when we can recognize when we're practicing that behavior, that's, you're doing a disservice. You're eroding what you're trying to build. You're becoming your worst enemy, not your best friend.
Absolutely. You're not building up the us. All you're doing is building up yourself and creating walls in between you, which creates distance. Now, that's the opposite effect of what praise actually does. When we talk about praise, we're talking about really identifying the true attributes, the positive characteristics of your partner, and verbalizing those things. Now, that's really important because it takes away from that nitpicking negativity that we're all prone to and finding those negative things that irritate and annoy you, and instead causing you to kind of take a step back and say, you know what? This is something that's positive about you. I'm going to articulate that and share with you how much I really enjoy the way that you just get things done.
And this is really serious, fellas. Listen to what we're saying here, because if you really want to expound and grow your relationship with your significant other, it's important that you lift them up, that you edify them, that you praise what they're doing, their work, whatever it is that your wife, your significant other is doing at home. Because if you're not praising her, I guarantee you somebody else is going to praise her, and she's going to go gravitate that, because everybody needs to be validated. Because if you're tearing her down constantly with your words and your actions, chances are she might go somewhere else.
Right. So if you're not praising, then you're probably controlling or manipulating or ignoring. And any of those things will destroy your relationship across the long term. Now, you might be okay in a short term. There might be a dry season, if you will, which means it's really hard to really connect to each other. But you have to work diligently to overcome that so that you are again creating this sense of belonging and connection to each other. That validation that Ron talked about is so important, especially if you're separated by time or distance. Because when you're able to identify those positive attributes and speak into each other's lives, then you are actually encouraging the relationship to thrive and grow.
One of the things about praising Kathy is when I'm praising her, because I love that she can dream and she's a visionary, and I praise her for that. I thank her for that. I encourage her to do that because she can see a world that I can't see, and then in return she encourages me to go ahead and dream, and then we empower one another by validating each other's visions, each other's dreams, by encouraging each other to pursue them, not to deflate them, not to tear them down, not to belittle, but to encourage.
So as we talk more about this today, we're going to talk about why it's so important, and we're going to talk about how to actually activate positive praise in your relationship. We've seen so many couples that mistake that falsifying and that really flattery, and they mistake that for praise. Or they just completely ignore it and they say, you know what, we're already together and I know that this person cares about me. Why should I go out of my way to tell them positive things? They already know what I think about them. Well, that's a falsehood. We all need to be validated. We all need to know that the other person still sees those great attributes. When Ron praises me, it makes me feel so good. It makes me really feel more connected to him. It really causes me to ignite this even deeper faithfulness and commitment to making sure that our relationship is primary.
You know, in understanding our love language, right? One of my love languages, you know, I can do things for people. I don't expect that in return, but there is something I do like to hear, a thank you, right? Thank
Right.
you. That is one of my love languages. When I don't hear thank you and I do something, you know, my attitude is, wow, they didn't appreciate it. You know, but really, I just want to hear thank you. And that validates me when I hear Kathy's tell me, thank you for doing the dishes, thank you for mowing the yard. Yeah, I'm expected to take the garbage out, but it's good to be validated. It's good to be appreciative, even in that aspect. And when I see Kathy do things that, you know, would normally things she would do, I want to acknowledge her. Man, you did a great job on that dinner tonight. You did a great job on cleaning the house. You know what? The house looks extra clean today. What did you do? Right?
It looks extra clean.
Wow.
I picked up. That's awesome. But when you hear that, then it really makes each of you want to assist and build up the other person. If there's conflict in your relationship, you're not probably having a lot of praise because you feel like, why should I mention this one positive thing when there's all of these other negative things? So we withhold that praise. And that's actually another way of manipulating in the relationship to say, I'm going to hold on to the power. And that way I'm not making myself vulnerable and I'm not going to give you that any right to speak into my life.
So we're going to take a commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about why this is important. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Finding your purpose should not be rocket science. Why is it in life when we get excited about something, when something comes our way and we know that this is our purpose, we know this is the reason why we were put here on earth, we allow life and the circumstances thereof to snatch our joy, to steal our dreams? Why is it that we allow those things to just suffocate our growth?
Because we make it so complicated. You need a program that shows you the process, that lays it out in front of you so that you know exactly when you're on track to unleash your fullest potential.
Because the word is, if you're faithful in the little things, you will be faithful in the big things.
In this program, we're going to teach you the process to actually reach your dreams. Some of you don't even know what your dreams are, so we're going to help you unlock that and unleash that. And then we're going to give you the process to step through all of the challenges, overcome every single obstacle in order to reach and achieve those dreams.
Part of the process of you becoming a new person for you is understanding what it means to be a TYRO, right? You're going to start reciting a pledge that is going to become your new mantra for your life, called the TYRO Pledge. And I promise you, this would change the way you think about you.
We're going to teach you the difference between a value statement and an observation. We're going to give you the formula on how to be successful in investing your time and energy. We're going to walk you through the process of developing a mission statement.
This is not going to be easy. This is not a cakewalk. But if you're ready to live up to your greatest potential, to take on every challenge that's in front of you and conquer them, then you're ready to be a TYRO.
You must know you are not on this path alone. As you go through this course, you're going to be going through this course with people all across the world. There are TYROs worldwide that are waiting to welcome you into this community, to become a person worth following and join the network that is transforming their lives and their communities.
The greatest honor of completing TYRO is to earn the TYRO pen. Many people from across the world, from all walks of life, have earned the TYRO pen by completing the 12 workshops that are in this program. But just because you signed up, and maybe you showed up for one or two of them, doesn't give you the right to earn the TYRO pin. You must complete this entire program to be pinned a TYRO.
This pinning is an outward symbol of something that's happened on the inside. Because throughout the TYRO process, you are going to be awakened to your purpose and your dreams. Your heartbeat begins to resurrect and beat again for the passion of being a leader in your home, your community, and your workplace.
If your dreams don't scare you, then you are not dreaming big enough. Sign up for this program if you're ready to be pushed to your greatest potential. Sign up for this program if you're ready to live the next level of life. You have what it takes. Everything that you need is right inside you. We're here to help you pull it out, your greatest potential. Quit running from yourself. Become the man or the woman that you were called to be here today, right now.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about the power of praise in your relationships.
And we talked a little bit about what actually we mean by that, how it's not manipulation, but how actually positive, true praise builds stability in your relationship and builds the foundation for a lifetime of satisfaction in that relationship.
We also mentioned a little bit about why it's important. And now we want to dive deep into that segment because it's really important to understand why you want to tell somebody how great they are, why you want to tell your significant other how beautiful she is and what she's great at. Because I want to tell you right now, fellas, if you don't tell her, somebody else will. Everybody needs to be affirmed.
And ladies, if you're not validating your man, then I guarantee you're leaving the door open for someone else to do it. And then infidelity comes in. You're setting each other up for affairs, you're setting each other up for, and the affair might not be with somebody else, it might be with their work, right? It might be with a hobby. It might be that they just don't come home and they're completely disconnecting emotionally from you. Power of praise in your relationship means that you are actually establishing a strong connection where your partner wants to be with you.
And this is so important because when you're edifying, when you're lifting each other up, guess what? I don't want to go anywhere else to get lifted up. I don't want to hear praise from anyone. It's all good and stuff. But when I got that smile and that gleam from my wife and she tells me something great about me, that's what I want. That's the validation I'm looking for. Because everybody else outside of our home, outside of our relationship, it doesn't matter. Because this is where the number one thing in my life is the us in this relationship. And I want to hear Cathy tell great things about me as I say great things about her, but they got to be honest. You got to be truthful.
If you're not praising each other, you're going to breed insecurity and bitterness. And so if I feel unappreciated and not valued by Ron, more than anything, I really want to be treasured. I want Ron to look at me and I want to see in his eyes, wow, I care about her. And I want him to verbalize those things. Simple things like, wow, what a great dinner. Or you're a great cook. Or, wow, I love your hair. You look great today. Whatever those things are that validate me and praise me, they cause me to want to be with him. When he only says negative things to me or says nothing at all, I start feeling insecure, which means I'm going to back away from this relationship. I don't feel secure, I don't feel safety in this relationship, and I certainly don't feel cherished.
And I'll tell you another thing Cathy doesn't want, nor I want, nor any of you want, is to be objectified. Now let me tell you what objectify means. Like if you went to a movie theater and you were going to buy a ticket to get into the movie theater, you got the person who's going to sell you the ticket, you give that person the money, they give you the ticket, you go to the movie theater. Did you stop to have a conversation with that person? Did you ask that person how they were doing? Of course not. They were there doing a job and therefore you objectified them by just, hey, here's my money, here's my ticket, and you're on your way. And they accept that because that's the role they're playing in that moment in your life. But now if I'm doing that with Cathy, I'm objectifying you. I expect my food to be cooked. You're gonna wash my clothes, and I'm not gonna thank you. I'm not gonna pat you on the back. I'm not gonna say anything good about you because I'm entitled to this.
And all I see you as a way to get what I want, right? So I see that what you can provide to me, the service, whether it's money, whether it's activities, right? Oh, okay, there's the guy that mows my lawn and trims my bushes, and that's all I care about. Well, then Ron's gonna start to feel unappreciated, and I'm gonna start to feel disconnected from him because now I'm losing my gratefulness for the beauty and the gift of Ron. Now listen carefully to that, because if I'm no longer grateful for this relationship, now I don't care about it. I'm not making it a priority. I'm taking it for granted. And then everything starts to fall apart and disintegrate.
Now, the person who took that ticket, they don't care if they're objectified. In fact, that's their job, that's their role, that's the experience they're willing to give to you, because why? They're there for a purpose. And they don't care nothing about you. They don't want to know your name. They don't want to know how you're doing. Here's your ticket, give them the money, go about your business. But that's not what your wife or your significant other wants. They do not want to be objectified in any manner. But because when you objectify somebody, now they're like a piece of property. Now there's something that you can discard and you don't care nothing about. That's not what this is about. This is where you edify, you praise, you value, you pour into, you find out what their love language is. You find out what is it that will make them grow, become better, not bitter. And that's my role in my life, in our life, with my life with Cathy, is to find those things in her life. What is it that excites her? What is it that makes her dream and grow? And I wanna expound and help that in her.
You see, not only when I praise Ron or when he praises me does it make me feel good. So if I praise him, he feels good, but it's also a powerful reminder to me on why I care about him, what's unique about him, and it inspires me to care even more. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to ignite the power of praise in your relationship. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
I'm your coach, Tremaine Hall. We're looking forward to getting you to the next level in where you want to be in fitness. Our whole method is to make you mentally tough and also physically strong. We're going to start with dynamic warm-up, lower core, upper body, and also full body blast. Get ready to take your fitness to the next level with TYRO Fit and Stenos.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about the power of praise in your relationships.
Now, we've talked a lot about what praise is and what it isn't. We also talked about why it's so important and how it inspires gratefulness in your relationship for each other. Now we want to talk about how. How do you actually go from a place where maybe you've been really critical or silent? Now, how do you actually implement true praise in your relationship?
So I mentioned earlier about a love language. Well, this actually comes from a book I read called 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. And I want to encourage you to find that book if you have not read it. Excellent reading material, right? So the first thing is, in really understanding how do you activate the power of praise, is to know your partner's love language.
Because if you don't know their love language, you might be thinking you're praising them and it means nothing to them. It's not inspiring them. So Ron, as he mentioned earlier, appreciation means so much to him, but stuff doesn't. So if I'm buying him things and I think that that's like actually praising him and he's not receiving it that way, it's not building up our relationship. It's really nothing.
And the second thing we want to share with you is to be quick to praise. If you have a thought, then say it. Tell the person how great they are. Don't wait. Don't hold it in. Don't keep it to yourself. Let them know how much you appreciate them then and there.
Because as you have the thought right there in that moment, that's when it means the most. In the midst of whatever it is that's happening now. Like I can look at Ron, wow, you just got a haircut. You look great. If I wait 3 weeks, he's probably like, wow, it's time for a new haircut. You're just now telling me that I've looked good for 3 weeks? Really important. So number 3, be slow to criticize. If Ron says or does something that irritates me, I want to take a big deep breath because maybe I'm just having a bad day. Maybe it's something else that already has me irritable and I'm just going to take it out on him. So I'm going to take my time and say, is this something I really need to say? Because 9 times out of 10, it is not.
And that's a really good one. Number 3 is kind of difficult because we're used to criticizing one another. It's easy to when you're in a bad mood to take it out on somebody else and you're not even conscious what it is that's causing you to be upset. You think it's that moment when really it was something else in the past. As you think about these 3 things that we just shared with you, these 3 action steps, the first one being the love language. You got to really qualify what is that love language for your partner, right? So if I mow the yard and then Cathy goes out and buys me a new lawnmower, that doesn't do it for me. Right? I mean, yeah, I'd appreciate a new lawnmower, but that's not filling my love tank. So qualifying and really filling my love tank is Cathy coming out and saying, wow, not only is that a great job, but thank you for taking the time to mow the yard. Even though that's expected of me, even though that's something I enjoy doing, I like to hear thank you once in a while because that's a lot of work and I take my time doing it.
Let's go back to the second one. And so when we think about being quick to praise, when we have the thought, when we actually see something that inspires us to feel warm towards our partner, say it out loud. Too many times we leave it unsaid. So if Ron does something and I think, wow, that was really awesome and I really appreciate it, I might take it for granted that he knows I appreciate it. Or I might take it for granted that he knows he looks good with his new haircut. So I leave those things left unsaid, and over time, Ron feels unappreciated and taken for granted. And I actually do begin to take him for granted. Verbalizing those things does 2 things, and I'm going to say this again. I know I said it earlier. Number 1, it lets Ron know how much he means to me, but it also reminds me how much he means to me.
And the third one is to be slow to criticize. Now, in the past, in my insecurities, when I was a grown man with little boy issues, right? Everything was critical. Everything was a triage moment, right? Everything was, I was like living in emergency rooms, mental state, right? So I was always trying to make everything right and everything. I would blame others, and especially Cathy, for my own shortcomings. I would blame Cathy when it didn't go my way. I would blame Cathy. I was criticizing her always. Why? Because I was so insecure in my manhood. I was so insecure in who I was. I didn't know who I was. So therefore, if that's you, if you're constantly criticizing your partner, if you're constantly finding fault where there is no fault, or you may be even looking for fault, then you got to examine yourself to say, you know what, where am I in this relationship? Why am I always trying to conduct myself in a way that I'm dominating or controlling the other person?
Or even causing the other person to feel less than. And I'm going to use an example because before Ron went to prison, he could not do anything right for me. So we would be making dinner. Let's say he made dinner and I would always find something he didn't do right. Let's say he made tacos and I'd tell him, you didn't cut the tomatoes right, they're too big. Okay, why did I even have to say that? It was my own insecurity, my own frustration with my own life that was coming out in ways of being critical towards Ron. When we're quick to criticize, what we're telling our partner is, I'm unhappy. And so when we think about all of these three things together, I'm going to say, let's start working on them today. Stop being critical, start praising more, and then figure out what is the love language, what is the way that speaks most to my partner that lets them feel appreciated, valued, and cared for.
So if you haven't told your partner in quite some time how much you appreciate them, how great they are, or whatever it is they're doing that they're good at, let them know. Take time today to begin that new vocabulary in your life where, you know what, I'm no longer going to criticize, I'm going to praise you. I'm going to say something great about you each and every day. I guarantee you, by doing these things, it will cause your relationship to not only grow, but to flourish.
So as you look at these three, there may be one that you think, wow, this is going to be really difficult. And to be honest with you, the thing that was most difficult for me was number one, finding Ron's love language, because I wanted him to feel affirmed in ways that I felt affirmed. And that was a very selfish way to look at our relationship and look at him. Look at each one of these and ask yourself, how can you actually work today to implement these things to build a strong relationship for the future?
So when we come back, we're going to wrap all this up and give you some final tips. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
One day, he invited me to attend these classes he earned for taking part in the TYRO program. I thought it was just a way to get extra visits. But I went, and there I saw a different man.
My once estranged 4-year-old son now sees me as a hero, as do my 2 stepchildren. I'm proud to say that I've just achieved 2 full years of continuous sobriety.
Today I'm a father, friend, neighbor, a man of honor and integrity, a man worth following. Without this program, there's no doubt I would have been a statistic.
I have to give the Ridge Project and the TYRO classes a great big thank you for finding the man I married.
So, to the Ridge Project and all my other TYRO brothers, I'd like to say thank you, God bless you, and here's to another year of being leaders in a society wonderful enough to give people like me a second chance at the American dream.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. Today we're talking about the power of praise in your relationships.
Now, to be completely transparent, this takes practice. This isn't going to come easily, especially if you've gotten into the routine of actually cutting each other down or ignoring each other's attributes. Learning to practice this is going to take time, but practice makes permanent.
What's really exciting is if you're willing to learn and willing to grow and your partner's willing to work with you in this and the two of you come together and say, you know what, let's practice something new in our life. I want to go an entire day without cutting you down, without criticizing you, without finding your faults. Because why? That's easy, right? We can all find faults in each other. But to find that nugget, to find that gold piece in your partner and really edify that person. Listen, you can't take each other for granted. This is going to take hard work. As Cathy said, practice makes permanent. But be that person. Come together and be honest with each other. Talk to one another and say, you know what? Today's the day we're going to begin a new part of our relationship where we're going to tell each other great things about ourselves. We're going to lift each other up. And I want to practice going at least 7 days, 24 hours, whatever it is, and not say anything bad about you.
Now, These 3 tips that we gave you on finding each other's love language, being quick to praise and being slow to criticize, they will transform your relationship when you begin practicing them on a regular basis. Consistency is really important because you've established perhaps really spiteful, broken, hurtful patterns in your relationship. It's going to take time to undo the damage that has been done. And we want you to recognize that because as you begin to speak positively into each other's lives, initially there'll be some resistance like, oh, okay, now you want to be nice to me. Okay, oh, now what's the game you're trying to play now? But over time, you will learn to relate to each other in these new healthy ways, and it will build a foundation for your future.
You know, really coming into a place of appreciating one another at the place of right where you're at. You know, I appreciate everything about Cathy. I appreciate where she was, where she is, and where she's going. And I want to be part of that story. I want to be part of that journey. I don't want to be that page in her book where it's filled with destruction and just and always cutting her down. That was in the past. But the new chapters we're writing in our life, I want to be that hero in her life. So therefore, I'm going to celebrate her and I'm going to praise her.
When I am the champion of Ron, when I recognize the greatness of Ron, it causes him to want to draw nearer to me. He wants to be in a place where he is celebrated, not tolerated. And so we want to really encourage you to start practicing these principles right now. Make sure your partner feels celebrated. We guarantee you that as you begin to practice these principles, you will see something new in your relationship.
So thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your journey. Until next time, always remember that we are rooting for you.